Hi everybody, Rowing on the Square podcast. How's everybody doing? I am driving back from Dayton, Ohio, where they had a training that I provided for rowing instructors. It was a rowing instructor certification, so I was teaching fitness professionals how to instruct a rowing class and a rowing class for fitness. And it was super exciting, super fun. The Lifestyle Wellness brand is going to be opening their wellness center. It'll have spin bikes, it'll have rowing machines, cold plunge, infrared, all sorts of testing that you can do. So if you're in Dayton, Ohio, look for them. And I will put their contact information in the show notes so that you can take some classes with the instructors that I just instructed. I just wanted to, do just a little podcast riff on the idea of rowing and how to involve rowing, more people in rowing. And I think that, with having indoor rowing as being a gateway to doing more rowing out on the water and getting people more exposed to rowing out on the water, I think that that's really helpful. And the idea that, rowing is a full body sport, so you're using all of your limbs all at the same time, which you think is like, oh, not a big deal, but there's very few exercises where you're really in that total body arena. I mean, there's running, there's biking in a sense that you're using your arms to stabilize, but you're not like using them. There's a lot of sports that are more dominant one way or the other, but rowing tends to have the energy expenditure of that as of running. So rowing can be a great alternative for someone who potentially can't run anymore, but could do the rowing motion. So it's really great for that, and it's also really great for building community, like having the opportunity for people to get together and to row together and to feel that synchronicity of motion. So during the class, because some of the instructors were brand new to rowing, so went through all the basics of the Concept 2 machine. That was really the basis of the program, was discussing how to use the Concept 2 machine in the rowing style class in order to deliver a really full body exercise. We talked about warm up, we talked about the main workout, we talked about the cool down. One thing that struck me about the class is how difficult it is to learn a new motor pattern, to learn something new. We go back to like our neurological thinking about how we gain motion and how we learn motion. We start out very gross motor with anything that we're learning how to do. So you're going to activate all your muscles all at once to try to recreate this motion. And really, the science of athleticism is really being able to turn off and turn on the appropriate muscles and only the most appropriate and efficient muscles to produce that motion. So as I had new instructors moving through the motion, you have to provide that motivation and encouragement that it's not going to be perfect. The first time that you do it, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a little bit of practice. The rowing motion, although it's not it's not a super complex motion. However, it does require a level of specificity in your movement in order to piece the movement together in a fluid type of way. So that was really exciting, kind of seeing how, it's very easy for people to go fast on the machine in the beginning, and really kind of honing in on how do I control my movement? Like, how do I make this movement smooth and synchronized and make sure that my arms and body are coming out before my legs are starting to bend? Like, what does that mean and how does it feel? I like to go into the idea of the feeling that we're trying to create And even starting out on the machine with someone who's not familiar with the machine, getting them in a good placement. Usually I tend towards a lower heel placement in comparison heel to seat. The closer the heel is to the seat, you're going to be closing that position and making the person go into a deeper, more flexible squat. So, giving some people some room to, if they don't have all that flexibility, to be able to get on the machine and be comfortable. Once I figure out where I'm placing the person on the machine, the next thing is that I, have them gently place their hands on their knees, and I have them just keep their body forward and push the knees down. So now we're talking about pushing that pressure through the foot plate and understanding that before you even grab the handle. After we grab the handle, we talk about all of the different parts of the stroke. Something key that I did mention to the instructors is, before you get on the machine, thinking about a deep squat. What does this person's deep squat look like? You can do that with the overhead dowel, overhead squat with a dowel overhead, and seeing what's their shoulder range of motion, what's their deep squat tolerance, and then also what's their hinge look like? Are they able to hinge without flexing the upper body? And some people have a really hard time with that, like going pelvis on hip joint. It's not necessarily something that everyone can be really good at. We had one person in the class today who was very flexible, so she had plenty of hinge, almost too much hinge, but because she was flexible, she didn't get that cue when she's sitting long in the leg down position. She didn't get the cue to stop her body from pivoting forward because her hamstrings aren't tight. So then we had to decide and instruct on what position, like, are we getting into that, somewhere between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, or should we aim for a little bit, should we aim for a solid 11 o'clock so that we're getting an upright body as she's coming up to the catch. A lot of times when people are learning the stroke, it's all at once. So it's an arm, and arms are moving, body's moving, legs are moving, everything's moving. It's like the accordion style athlete as they're going up to the catch. So then taking that idea and trying to break the stroke down into different pieces and kind of having that moment. I like to talk about the moment where the seat doesn't move, where you're pivoting over the seat. Like, you need to get that pivot, get the body stabilized, and then folding those legs underneath you, and letting there be a moment where the legs can fold slowly underneath you. I tried to stress to the instructors that I was working with today that they need to be comfortable at that 18 strokes per minute recovery pace, and then they need to be able to be confident in that so that they can get all of their athletes to do that stroke. So, it's very easy to take somebody up to 28 and then to have them, to bring them back down into that 18 where the people in your class can take a moment to work on form, where they can take a moment to, like, breathe, put in twice the breath, then they're exhaling out on the drive. So having a really solid ability to bring your class participants back into that 18 strokes per minute range is really important. So if you're interested in having me come out and do a certification for your instructors, feel free to reach out to rowingonthesquare.com. You can fill out my contact me information, and I can do live, and I'm also going to be putting together the information into a virtual certification. So this will involve completing some modules, and then also submitting a little sample class that you put together and sent to me. So I hope it was super helpful to hear about the adventures of rowing on the square. So right now I am driving back from Dayton, Ohio, back to Rochester, New York, and it will take me about 6 hours to do that. It's 6 hours and 22 minutes right now, so I've been on the road for about a half hour, 45 minutes already. So super excited to train your fitness instructors and get them more knowledgeable about the rowing motion and introducing more people to rowing. Take care.